Uh, it wasn't really a decision. It was kind of out of necessity. So after I had quit the job I was working at Nissan as a field engineer when they started building that plant. And after that, went up to Ohio to work for another company. Uh, and really, the project was shut down just as the economy started to downturn there. So I came back home, started looking for work, and a friend of mine down the street was roofing some houses and um, asked if I would be interested, and just kind of like that. So, in the meantime of looking for a job, I got into the roofing industry right after Hurricane Katrina, just out of kind of default. Fell in love with it, enjoyed being outside, meeting homeowners, uh, working with crews, and just the biggest gratitude was delivering a project to a homeowner, and they're like, "Wow, that really looks great." So I kind of got addicted to that customer satisfaction on the job.
Yeah, it's very different. If you're working in Nissan plants, you're not really getting that once
Yeah,
a
they
month.
don't give you much gratification in that world. It's all about schedules and budgets and very tight timelines. Where when you can just deliver something simple to a homeowner, they smile ear to ear, and it's very rewarding. So that's what I really loved about the home improvement, the roofing, uh, and that's kind of how I got hooked into it.
And for better or worse, I would imagine Hurricane Katrina was a good time to be over here.
Yeah, for me, it was no different because I didn't know what it was like before so it was probably a little over a year after the hurricane, 9 months that we kind of got rolling into it, and more out of necessity. People needed roofs. The friend of mine at the time, he was a home builder and was slowly getting into it. He was good at the business end. I was good with the crews and getting the projects done.
So when did that become complete exteriors? What was the process?
So I was with a company that's still in business. We started, and after about a year and a half of working with the individual, we really didn't see eye to eye. Um, he was more of a money greed driven, and I was more about customer satisfaction, doing the right thing, the right job, the right way, educating homeowners with their issues. Um, so it was about 2007 when I actually went off and started. In 2007, it was complete home exteriors.
And what did that operation look like? What were you?
What did that operation look like? Well, my dad had just retired from Michigan, and I told him about the bad business deal I was in, and so he retired. He sold his house with everything in it, uh, to a New York Yankee player, and he moved down with a Ford F-250 and a 16-foot enclosed trailer. He put everything he had owned and moved down and bought a home in Jackson, Mississippi, right by the Jackson Country Club. It's about a 3,800 square foot home, but there was a dance room in the back. And I basically started my company on a plastic 3x5 card table, a laptop. He gave me the truck he drove down in and the enclosed trailer. And when we split the other business I was with, I had 4 or 5 guys that came with me. And so that's what I started with. And I was everything from the owner to the flashing guy on site to the run to the store and pick this up, go collect a check, pay the bills. My dad helped me a good bit in that, but I had to wear all the hats at that time.
Well, that's that's a lot to carry. That's when you think you're getting a business, which you get so much more. You get the job and everything.
Yeah. I actually miss it. It was that aspect of being involved, start to finish, is just one is meeting a new person, then selling your services and your vision to that person. Here's what I can do. Here's how we're going to fix it. Giving them a price and then delivering it at the end to where somebody's smile. Where I used to always aim at complete exteriors and it was exceeding expectations. So always going above and beyond really what you can write in a bid or an estimate. So just going above and beyond, oh, I didn't know you included that, or there's a piece of rotten fascia and we're doing the wood, and I would just, just swap it out. It was real simple to do, and people always looked at that, and it always got me the next referral or the next homeowner.
And so that was your secret to business success, was just the way you took care of people.
Yeah, and I called it the one extra, and it was I always try to do one extra thing, whether it was fixing something or a big thing of mine was we would trample through people's flower beds, not necessarily but take the pine straw and you'd mat it down and it would kind of be in order, and we'd try to straighten it out. But going to Lowe's and buying like $4 or $5 bales of pine straw and repine strawing their beds, so when they came home, it looked like brand new roof. Flower beds are straight, everything's in order. So just going above and beyond to, when we arrived, to leave their home in a better condition than when we started. Yeah, that's a Nick. Throw me a water up there. I forget what I said. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Be like, oh look. Yeah. The old movie trick. Oh yeah. Look, the water bottle appeared.
Yeah, so it's important to you to leave the home better than you.
Yeah. So from the start of a project with the roof in disarray, and we might be replacing fascia or doing siding or windows, or having the homeowner, they would leave in the morning, and then when they come back, brand new roof, nice straight flower beds, all the sidewalks are blown off, everything's neat and tidy, and just taking care of that homeowner's house and leaving it in a better condition than when we arrived.
And people appreciated that.
Yeah, and it was just the attention to detail that I focused on, and really delivering what I had discussed with the homeowner, identifying what problems they have, what their expectations are out of a project, and really making them understand that that's we can achieve that, or yes, that's totally, um, what would you say? Total, it can be accomplished, and here's how we're going to do it. And just directing people in the right way, not so much money driven, but what's in the best interest of a homeowner, and giving them the options to choose. So,
have you found that to be an unusual way to handle roofing business in the area?
yeah, I think a lot of times, it takes years of experience to look at a problem and say, okay, I've addressed it this way in the past and it didn't work out so well. But here's a price to do it that way, because maybe the homeowner has preconceived notions that, hey, all you got to do is throw a bucket of tar on it and it'll work, or just learning from experience and saying, nah, I've done that before, you're not going to be happy with the results, here's a price for that, but if it was my house, here's what I really prefer to do, and if you want to do it that way, I'm probably not the roofing contractor for you. And being able to walk away and tell somebody that, really, to a person, they're like, well, that guy believes in it so much that he's willing just to walk away from the job. And so many times I've done that because it doesn't line up. They're not going to be happy with it, and I don't want to tarnish my reputation. So they hire me for a skill, and I've put a lot of research and years of experience on the roof, off the roof, in classes and educating that, look, I'm going to do it this way, or find somebody else. Maybe you're better off calling a handyman or something, but I'm not going to put my name on the line for that.
No, no. What's the thing behind the name on that? Is it is it Joe's reputation? Is it the business's reputation? Is it hurting future business? Like what
Right. So it really came from my dad, and my dad was just his attention to detail. He was a craftsman. He was a sheet metal worker. What came up through the union, but when from the time I was a young kid, we remodeled our basement in Michigan, and I was 10 or 12 years old. But every stud had to be cut right. It had to be plumb. The nails had to be nailed right. You just didn't do it halfway. And it really boils down to, if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. So I always stood in the industry as, look, I'm going to do it the best way, or it's not a match, or the customer's not a fit for us. Like, and I'll educate people, like, here's why we do it this way, and here's why you might want to spend a little more money. because it's ultimately worth it, because there's nothing worse than paying to do something twice. And so many times we go back, we get called out, uh, second or third attempts by other people, didn't fix the problem, but they were just the other contract weren't brave enough to say, well, here's the deal. You have a serious issue on your hands. Here's what it looks like. We'll pull up past jobs with bad flashing. Here's what they've attempted to do. Now, I understand you've spent a whole bunch of money, but here's the solution, and we'll guarantee a fix that way. And it's just educating people and just being open and honest rather than trying to make a quick buck, you know, slapping some tar on it, or just not educating the homeowner and doing what's in the best interest of the homeowner rather than trying to make a quick dollar and move on. So for my thing was, doing a shoddy repair is not a good long-term business plan. Doing a proper repair or a proper roof replacement leads to future business. They're happy with you once and they refer their family members. I've done some people's houses 3 and 4 times over the years. As they move, they get a new house, they buy a lake house. So it's just doing good business up front and just being open and honest and discussing those issues and then giving them a way to resolve them.
So good. So good.
I'm gonna grab some water. Hang on. Ooh, don't let me fall out of the chair.
So tell me a little bit more about this one extra.
Yeah, the one extra. It's just, I've always been big about being different, having a differentiator in the market. What is it that sets me, Joe, or my company, Complete Exteriors, or now Elite Roofing? What sets us apart? You know, and it's um, our one extra now is a lot of times it's not even seen by the homeowners, but the things we put in place. We put a field supervisor on every job, and that's so I can guarantee and sleep at night that every roof we put in meets certain standards of quality, right? There's maybe not every company does it. And it's not that a guy just stops by during the day. Our field supervisors own the job from that morning until the last nail, till the materials are picked up and that homeowner signs a customer satisfaction form. So that's a one extra now behind the scenes. Now that's a huge additional cost to us. A lot of guys don't have the staff we do. So the sales guy does the installation and he's not watching the crew install. He's off selling more to keep his pocketbook filled up. And those guys just do whatever they want on the roof. And that can lead to huge problems if your labor's not monitored or held to a certain expectation. So that's a huge thing now I see as a one extra, but it's behind the scenes that people don't see. We have a whole production and scheduling staff, and it's from the time the material arrives to updating our homeowners of what the next step is, to following up to a customer satisfaction phone calls and stuff like that. That to me now is all one extra, and it's things that people don't see on the surface when you go to do business with them. We try to explain it, but that's a huge cost that we incur as a company just to guarantee that we put the best product out there in the market.
So good. Yeah, and most people in Europe they'll never do.
No, I wish I just, and it really stemmed from in good conscience being that I sat at a table and said, here's why we're the best, or why I'm the elite guy. And here's why. Now, I can't sit at someone's table and not have, we use a program that takes photos with a checklist, every single job, every step. We check the materials, the color, every step. If it's ever been an issue, it's like a 60-point checklist that every single job gets. So that way, when I sit at a table and meet with someone, or one of our salespeople does, I know I can guarantee that all these things happen, and then we can deliver that report to a homeowner when it's done, and they have like, wow, that's unbelievable. Even updates throughout the day we can share with homeowners if they're out of town or whatever. So it's just been a huge thing for us.
Yeah, yeah, that personal touch. People that there are people who just want a deal, but most people personal touch is worth something.
Yeah, and I've always said roofing's not a commodity. It's not like 93 octane. It's the same thing on every corner. You know, there can be a huge difference than just the price, right? I would probably make more money if I was the cheap guy and cut a whole bunch of more corners, but that's not why I'm in it, and it was to set a standard in our industry in the area that, of course, we're going to do some flybys today. Have you ever been up close to one of those things?
I have, yeah. Yeah.
I think there's like 8 or 12 tanks they can fit inside the belly of it, maybe more.
He goes to Germany and Japan.
Actually, I roofed a guy's house who's a pilot of one of those. And in his office, he had the bottom, I didn't know what it was, but it had bullet marks in it. And it was a Kevlar lined seat that they sit in. And he was dropping into a hostile area and they were shooting up the underside. And it was every seat in the thing had it. He said, if it wasn't for this, that bullet would have ripped right through me. He said he didn't even know it until they because he's got a big cushion, but the Kevlar had all these embedded, unbelievable. And I'm sitting there like, holy crap. Yeah.
That's pretty real.
That's wild.
I know from time to time they'll let people fly with them and go to spring training.
Yeah.
But into that?
No, I haven't, but I would do it I'd like to jump out of the back of one maybe or something.
All right, so you were saying that that's why you're in this business, create that niche and that special business.
Yeah. And it's so roofing to me is not a commodity. It's hard to really explain to someone that until we've always been aligned with GAF, their systems, their warranties. I like saying I'm the fast food of a roof, right? You pick the order, here's our warranty categories, and then we just deliver it. But better than McDonald's, more like Chick-fil-A.
It is different to say the Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, the Chick-fil-A, not the McDonald's, but yeah, you almost guarantee the same chicken sandwich every time. So, yeah, and it's always good, right?
Yeah. So, all right. So that was 20. No, what year did you say you started? 2007.
Yeah, about 2000. So in roofing before that, about a year and a half with another business, and then just left and went off on my own.
Right, and so your roofing houses, you've grown the team, you've grown the business for about 10 years before you and Bob.
Oh, it's longer than that. When did I meet Bob? I don't even know. 18? 17?
Is that what you said? It's 7 years since then.
Yeah, so it's 2018. Yeah. Yeah, so I started off as complete home exterior. So I would do decks, driveways, sidewalks, siding, windows. I couldn't keep my schedule full with just roofing. We actually used to have complete home interiors. My sister would do kitchens and bathrooms, and that was the worst ever because not really, but homeowners, everything stares them right in the face, where a roof is like, it's not real hard to put a roof on straight. Now, some guys screw it up every day, but every color, the color's not right, oh, look at this little nick in the wall. So I was out of that business real quick. So there was a point in time where I just drew a line and I said, if I have to do work across the threshold of your home inside, I'm not the contractor. So then we stayed as complete home exteriors. Then I started getting into more commercial work. And so it was harder to convince somebody to let me do your commercial flat roof when I had home in the name. So it was 2013, I pulled the home out, went to complete exteriors. But slowly over the years, roofing has become our bread and butter. But we would that little jet. So we went to complete exteriors and pretty much exterior packages. But over time, I really dialed in on the roofing. We would do gutters. We would do siding if it was involved with a roof or other repairs. But you had to do it with a roof. I just wouldn't go out and do handyman repairs and stuff like that. And then ultimately, our 95% of our business is all roofing. Um, so that's our recent transition into the elite status.
Yeah, we'll focus in on A mention.
Yep.
Best.
Yep.
So, uh, so when you met Bob, were you looking for that type of expansion or that type of partnership, or did it found you?
Yeah, I had met Bob maybe a year or two prior to our second meeting, and a builder had called me out to look at a roof leak on a house, and Bob was actually the contractor that did it. And, you know, it's you go out there and give my take on what's going on, and that's actually how I first met Bob, was through that job. And years later, when we first started talking, he said, I want to tell you something, and he brings this job up I had all but forgotten. And he's like, what you thought the problem was, it was really this. And I went back and fixed it. And I'm great. I just had a builder call me out, throw me under the bus to pick apart someone's work, which I'm not big about, but it was quite interesting. And he went through, he said his piece, and he's like, all right, on to the next thing. And Bob had a great business for years, and he had I call it like a milk crate full of all these jobs he had to do. And he was just picking through them one at a time. And I had met him I was doing some cedar up at the Annandale Cottages, and he had roofed a lot of them before. And he saw my crew put it on, and I didn't know who it was, but he would drive by and kind of see what our crews were doing. And finally he approached me. He said, hey, look, I've got the contracts on these other two. Why don't we team up? We'll get these things done. That must have been the land. We'll team up and get these things done, and we'll just split whatever profits left 50-50. So that's what we did. Um, and I had a couple of the contracts. He had the other ones across the street, and we just went through them systematically, got all those done. He was happy with it. And then slowly he would one roof a week, kind of feed it to me. And I was like, just give it all to me. Like, I'll do 5-10 roofs a week. I had the people and the potential, but to Bob, it was more about I had to establish that trust and do it Bob's way. And I appreciate it, because that's a lot how I work. Like, he just didn't want to throw his name down to get all this work done. So we went through each one, and he would tell me what he liked, what he didn't like. And it was a great working relationship. I appreciated the man's knowledge. I mean, Bob, how old's Bob now? 83? 88? Okay, so Bob's 88 now. So yeah, he was about 80 when I met him. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Holy gosh. Um, but he would break out his Polaroids just to establish himself. Like, look, I'm not this old man. Like, see, that's me on this roof in Hilton Head putting the cedar on. This is my brother. And just Rolodex. You go through I've got all of his old company files back there. And everyone you go through, there's a newspaper article or a handwritten thank you note, just a personal touch on every job. So I just fell in love with the way he did business. It was one at a time, paid attention to every single detail, and really delivered what he had sold those people. And 8 years later, people still call him. He still refers us roofs. He still comes in our office. It's just been a God ordained type relationship. God just connecting the dots.
So, so what he told me today is that he actually had attempted to find the guy.
Yes.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Every time we run across something, like a wall, like, no, this is not him. We don't want concern or detail or personal care or whatever. And so he's praying. What do you remember about that?
Okay. So yeah. Yeah. So he had, when we first started meeting, he told me, I've been praying to find somebody I could turn this over to. And to Bob, it wasn't me writing him a big check. It was most important that Bob could put somebody in place that he could trust with his customers, and I didn't know that at first, but he explained that to me. And I do recall him telling me, I tried to do this with one or two more people, but some red flags went up. So I just continued to pray and trust that God would put someone. And I guess God chose me, you know, and it was, it's just one of, like I said, God connecting the dots. And Bob and I still talk about how God connects all these little dots in business. And uh, so, yeah, so that's ultimately it. I don't think me and Bob have ever argued about anything. He might have called and expressed some dissatisfaction about something to me, but it was more on a, uh, just a high level type, like so and so, you know, I'm not real happy. All right, Bob, I hear you. And I love the man to death. I mean, and he's a book of knowledge too. So he's been in the roofing industry almost as long as I've been alive. And I said that earlier. And so any type of roofing system, uh, I could call him right now and ask him, and he could tell you how many nails are in a square of this type of cedar. And still 88 years old, still recall it like it was yesterday, still really sharp. So it's been awesome just to have his mentorship and his, just his friendship, um, and just as he's been able to step away more, but he'll come rolling through with his little dog and say hi to everybody, bring treats or, you know, little thank you cards to whoever around here. So it's just been nice to watch him and get to know him.
How's it? How's it feel, or confirmation, or what did you do to know that yeah, first of all, pray you were the answer, and secondly, that other guys didn't meet this high standards, and you did. What does that mean?
Yeah. Ultimately, it's just the way I was raised, and it was either you do it right or don't do it, and that was Bob. Bob's nickname is Overkill, and I would run across his bids every once in a while. I was like, "Who in the heck does this? This is absolute overkill." And I looked, Bob Overkill Drummond, and it was like, but that was Bob. That's what he believed in. That's what he stood for. You do it Bob's way. He didn't care if he was the high priced guy or whatever. Here's the way I do my roofs. Take it or leave it, you know, and that to me I really admired. But I would run across to maybe where I had bid. Oh, I've got this other bid. Do you know this guy? And like, nope, don't know him. But overkill. I was like, yeah, you know, this guy's pretty overkill. That was for sure. But yeah, to me, it's even with my business, it's I trust God with my entire business. And if it really wasn't for him along the ways, there's been some bumps in the road and stuff. And it's just keep just trusting that he's my source and my provider. And Bob believes the same way. So I just think it's just God again aligning to humble men of God that really just want to be servants to their community and to customers.
It's quite a winning formula.
Yeah, you can't lose. So that's it's been good.
All right, so let's. We don't have to stop talking about Bob unless you want to, but I want to hear some about David, about that relationship that's happening over where we are in his
Hmm.
process. How that came about and why. And obviously, I haven't spoken to David, so I don't know the side of the story. So I'm
Yeah.
interested.
Well, we're gonna get you set up so you got to capture it. So David Wilbanks, uh, he owned Elite Roofing, or still actually no, he doesn't still own it because I bought it from him. But so when I first started, I looked up to David in our community of roofers. He's been in the business just like Bob for a very long time. He actually worked for his father, who was a roofer. But when I saw the name Elite, um, to me it was like, hey, they're the best of the best. So when I first started, I became a GAF certified roofer, and it was my goal to become a master elite roofer, which in the GAF, the manufacturer world, that's their top tier of installers. And he was the only one, I think, in the state for a long time. So I was like, okay, so I become a certified, I have to meet all these standards of installation and customer satisfaction and training and education. So I started working after that. But it was all after the way I saw Elite. Their roofs always looked so good. They used the big ridge cap, like they did it David's way or the Elite way, or they just didn't do it. It's a lot how Bob did his business. So I just looked up to that. You would go by their jobs, their crews were clean and professional. So that was, as a young man at the time, I'm looking at, okay, this guy's been in the business a long time. I've got to model myself after that. So I don't know if David knows it or not, but I always respected him as the only master elite, and that was something I was aspiring to do. Um, so over the years, I met the qualifications and became a master elite with GAF. I was the second or third one in the state at the time, uh, and it was honestly, I believe, our regional manufacturer rep had to get David's blessing to allow me into the program. Honestly, um, I don't know if they'll back that, but I'm pretty sure that it had to be a right alignment with the right type of company, the standards, and all that. And David and I had met in passing before, um, but I believe it was 2015. David's son passed away after a football game. He was 18, Walker, and it really it just hurt my heart. I followed the high school football scene and I coached youth football, and I just reached out to him, sent him a basket, went to the funeral, and just thinking of myself as a father with young boys that I couldn't imagine, but just offering a helping hand, whatever it was. Look, I know we're competitors per se, but if you need help running crews, whatever, I'm here. Just as another friend in the community. So after that, I think we had a great mutual respect for each other and just continued to kind of operate in the same industry, but I never called him a competitor. He was more of an ally, or we always looked at each other. Hey, you know, we're good. It's all the other guys that we're cleaning up after, not really, but kind of that thing. So our relationship kind of over the years went, and he was about 55. And just in passing, I said, David, you, man, you always got to mess something up.
All right,
Uh,
start from the beginning.
all right. Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing. Let's do it over.
Start.
So, in passing with David, I think we're at some seminar or educational event. Uh, he was talking about retiring, maybe. Oh, I got 5 years left or whatever. I just threw it out there like, hey, if you ever go to sell, holler at me. And last year he called me. He said, hey, I got this private equity firm that wants to buy me. I just don't think I'm not what they're looking for. They're looking for a larger company. But if you bought me, you would probably look more advantageous to this private equity firm. Um, so we started talking to this private equity, and I just wasn't having it. Nah, I don't need these investors and all this other stuff. Sound like a bunch of black magic. But I said, once we finished the phone call, I just looked at David. I said, hey, what do I need to do to buy your company? So we worked over a few months and kind of struck a deal. And again, it works out perfect. It's again, David's a God fearing man, loves the Lord, raised his kids that way. So we just see eye to eye. It was an easy transition once we got all the fine details on the papers worked out. He's still operating the business up there. I stop in, check on it. He's slowly going to work his way out as um, over the next 2 years as he transitions into retirement. So just another great fit, another man that's aligned with this. We all have the same vision. Long term is doing the highest quality work and not staining our industry, or just holding a very high standard of excellence in our industry. So just God aligning it. So hopefully he's going to send me a few more.
Well, and I was going to say that sometimes when we hear about business acquisition, for lack of a better word, um, it does feel more like the private equity guys. It feels more like this is about accumulation and greed and
Hmm.
conquest kind of thing. But it sounds different the way that it's happening. You're approaching it.
Yeah, it's more of Bob. Bob didn't have a successor. His kids were older. Bob did it, continued to work on it. He loved the industry, but he didn't have. He had built something over time, but didn't have a son or a nephew or somebody he could turn it over and just let him go on with it. It was important though for all these customers he had serviced over the years to give them an outlet or an avenue to still get the same high quality service. And the same thing with David. He's got a wall of filing cabinets back from 1990, maybe 80. every homeowner. He can pull out a file and there it is. I'm a digital guy, but lots of paper, the roof sketches. He can pull it out, tell a story about who's home, who he's related to, same way Bob does it. But to David, it's his son is in Texas doing something else. Walker unfortunately passed away. David doesn't have a successor. It, to David, it was more important to the employees he has someone to take over. I didn't go in there and change a whole bunch of stuff. He does business his way, which is fine. I didn't go over there and say, no, we do it Joe's way. Um, but I knew his guys before I bought the company. It was, I've known Louis, his office or projects manager, both of his sales guys I've known for a long time, always had a great mutual respect in passing. We'd call each other if we were bidding on the same jobs or whatever. So it was a very natural fit, very smooth. And it's just, again, God's hand on things and his blessing ultimately.
And I love what you're saying about how they really had established this level of trust with these customers, and for them to not be able to say, "Here's where you should go," and want to get that same like that. Let's expand that just a little bit. That's rich. That's really really good. Like, just talk to me about that, about how to those customers.
Yeah. So, you would think a roof customer would be a one-time customer, right? You get your roof replaced. I don't know, around here, it can every 10 to 15 years, right? But that a customer life cycle is a lot more than that. And that same customer, if you do business right on the roof, they're going to call you, "Hey Joe, who do you know that does this?" Because that you've established that trust. So ultimately that homeowner's gonna say, "Hey, do you have a window guy? Do you have a gutter guy? Hey, what do you know about drainage?" Or, "Hey, I've got this other issue." So many times I would get called for off the wall stuff, but they trusted my knowledge and education in roofing, and they knew I had a lot more education than just the roofing aspect. The entire building. I mean, I'm a licensed general contractor, but it was just it. And if I didn't know a person, I would call or research and find them the right person, as a solution. And really, it's that going above and beyond and not just like, "No, I don't do that." Click. You get a lot of guys that won't even engage in it because ultimately they might not make any money off of it. So they just go on to the next thing. But to me, it's all about a lifelong customer, and that into taking care of them the first time their kids get older, they need a roof, they're going to call us. And that's established at the dining room table and then through the performance of your work and services, and then maintaining that reputation over the years. I mean, right now, I think we're up to 300 5-star reviews over the last 2 years. It's not easy. Like, I think it's a 4.9. I think I got, and it was one of my friends gave me a 4-star out of 5. I'm like, dude, that's 80%. Like, really? So I guess if that's the way he felt, I even called him about it. He's like, "Well, I don't give anyone a 5-star." I'm like, "All right, thanks." But, he tarnished my perfection there, but we'll just keep working harder. But really just going above and beyond and caring for that homeowner, their home, their contents in it, their flower beds. And it's weird. Certain homeowners pay attention to certain things. Some people could care less if you trash their yard, their flower beds, but to me, it's the same service every time. I don't care if it's a $2 million home or a $200,000 house. You're getting the same service, same crews, same expectations every point of the way.
Yeah, and so both David and Bob could have just shut down, could have just let the customers like, "Hey, sorry, I'm done."
Yeah,
But instead, they offered you the chance to impress those
yeah,
customers. You offered them the chance to actually, I'm gonna realize the value of what they built.
yeah. And it was if Bob Drummond refers a customer, it's good as gold. because he's already done these things. It could have been one roof, two roofs, three roofs. But if Bob says you're good, these people believe so much in Bob that it's just a done deal. So when one of our other salespeople get a Bob Drummond lead, that's like gold, right? So and we only give those to our best guys, and it's got to be Bob that approves of the guy going to run that certain job. And I understand it totally, because it's the same reason if one of my old customers calls and specifically requests me, I run my job just like I did the first time, start to finish, right? I'm going to field supervise it. Like I want to be on the job to deliver the same level of service. I know my guys could do it, but I take pride in doing it start to finish. And that's the way I want to do it. So could I slough it off and hand it to our production department and they would do a fine job, but I like providing that personal touch. So
And what does it mean to you to be trusted by Bob and David?
yeah. So to me, over the years, now it's looking at Bob and the way his customers just adore him. The same thing with David. They keep calling and calling and calling. So knowing that I've, my company standards, the core values we have are in here, they're all in alignment, and they understand that I'm all in on any project. If we agree to do it, we're going to do it regardless. If we lose money, whatever, if we put our stamp or said, hey, we're going to make this happen, we'll do it or die trying. And that's it. It's not about the money. It's about delivering the expectations that you set at a homeowner's kitchen table.
I'm gonna ask what's next, but I'm not asking like, your business forecast or how many more businesses you will take over.
Yeah.
I'm asking more like, you know, how do you, how do you keep the one more thing or how do you, how do you continue to provide under a new name, Elite?
Mm-hmm.
How do you continue to provide an elite plus service?
Yeah. Um, so the changing of the name, it so we sat in a big marketing study on our name and our impact online, and and they said, hey, you're losing this amount of market share just by having the name Complete Exteriors when your core business is roofing. I'm like, interesting. And so I think they thought they were going to hurt my feelings, like, hey, you need to change the name of your company. Um, and honestly, we changed the name, and I looked around the room. It was me and Josh, our sales manager, and Eddie, our general manager. We had been doing this marketing study all day long. I'm like, Joe, they asked me, Joe, do you have any conviction on changing the name Complete Exteriors? I said, honestly, I was working in past Christian. I was in an RV and I needed a name for a company after Katrina. We're down there framing some houses and putting some metal roofs on. And that's what I came up with. So no, I don't have any. So they asked, what name would you like? I'm like, well, we just acquired Elite Roofing, and I've always loved the name Elite because it's what is above elite. If you're the elite force or the elite roofer, or if you're elite at something, you're the top of the herd. I don't know if there's another word that says better than the best or whatever. So that to me was in perfect alignment, because I don't care if it's a salesperson, if it's a production guy, if it's the person who answers the phone. It's like I expect our customers to receive the best of the best. And I won't, and that's just a standard. So when I say elite, that's what I'm looking at. Like, we want to deliver the top of the line service, the quality expectations, the products we deliver, the crews we put on site, the checklists, the delivered package. I want to make sure that what we deliver is the elite roofing service in our tri-county area here, or really right now it's going to be across the state. Because our goal is all the way from Gulfport, Hattiesburg, Jackson. We have a system that's replicated just like fast food. that whether a roof goes in on the coast, Hattiesburg here, or up in Oxford, it's the same way every single time.
So, so the name elite is simultaneously a standard and an aspiration.
Yeah.
So how do you? I know you said you expect that of all your people. How do you inspire that into your?
Right. So it's, um, I think it all starts with when you first go out and meet a homeowner, is listening to that homeowner and saying, what are your expectations? What problems are you having? What problems have you had in the past out of your roof? What has your experiences been in the past with other roofing contractors? Have you had a roof replaced before? How did that go? Have you been through the insurance claim process? And it's straight to me, a leaking roof is just every day I look at them, it's not a big deal. But to a homeowner who's getting water in their home, it's it's a huge problem, right? So they're going to lose sleep over it. Where I look at leaking roofs every day, it's normal. So when you're going to that homeowner and saying, okay, here's your issues, here's why your roof is leaking, um, and hearing all their problems and then addressing those with the best solutions and educating that homeowner at, look, here's two or three different options, good, better, best, the works, what fits your budget and your needs the best. And that's when I'm saying elite, it's here's four really good solutions. And you can go all the way from a standard 3-year workmanship warranty all the way up to a manufacturer 25-year warranty. Either way, my same team, same crew, higher quality materials as you go up, but what meets your budget and your needs. It's not here's the cheapest price and walk out. So it's giving them the options to choose what meets their budget, their needs, and ultimately what works best for that person, not what works best for our company. But we typically put 2 to 3 different roofing options on the table for people. They're all top notch, and it's really what expectations or needs a homeowner needs. Way to pay attention, Nick. There should be a oh, it's got a portable battery. Gosh, 29 minutes of recording and a 29-minute battery.
No, we were going for about
Oh, yeah.
50 minutes now. We're way over 29.
Really?
I
God,
feel like it, right?
way better than Nick's style. Nick is horrible at putting me on the spot.
Oh, put me on the spot. Well, I got a script.
No.
Well,
Ask the questions, I can answer it.
so kind of like Bob's been roofing as long as you've been alive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's unbelievable.
I've been doing this as long as Nick's been alive.
So this is what you did straight out of high school? You knew?
No, I mean, I did a little bit in college. Took a few classes that existed back then as a world, technology wise. Traveled with the football team in college a little bit. Um, but then I went to seminary and I
Really?
started a house church in the DC area, or group of house churches, and but didn't want to make our living that way.
Mm-hmm.
So so decided to the realtor up there asked me to join the team and sell real estate. So I did that for a while to pay the bills to support our ministry habits, and decided after a while to move back here so our kids could be in the same state with their grandparents and get some of the rules on this stuff. And thought it was going to be real estate here, but I've always just kept being drawn back to this. And so I just said, I thought you either had to work at a TV station, move to Hollywood, or film weddings. None of those were really very exciting to me.
Yeah,
But I learned a mentor and
that's awesome.
my own Bob.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really annoying clients.
Here you go. Yeah.
You will get a lot of good experience both in work and customer service. I'd rather you deal with them than me.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I got so I've got some more expanding on the elite now that I had a chance.
Okay, good, good, good. Rolling in? Yep. Great. All right, so talk to me.
So the big with say Bob first. So Bob was a real roofer. Bob, he showed me the pictures of him on the roof installing it, knew where all the nail placement was, how to do the flashing, every step of the roof, start to finish. Right? David Wilbanks, same way. He could still today. I mean, Bob, if he went in our training room on our chimney, he could still place the shingles and flashing around to perfection. That's a lost art in our industry right now, right? So when I'm a very mechanically inclined person, I love working with my hands. So when I started, I read every book, sheet metal book, roofing book, and then YouTube comes out and you start learning on YouTube. I went to school for construction management, so I knew the house, but I wanted to perfect and master a trade. Bob Drummond was a master at his trade first, right? David Wilbanks was a master at his trade first. There's so much knowledge just in those men of how many thousands of leaks they've looked at or issues with installations uh, and I'm nowhere close to their age or experience, but I always aspired and I was never one to say, "Oh, I know everything." So having that on the bench as a friend and ally, a mentor, right? Hey, Bob, have you ever seen this? I talked to David this morning about the way these shingles separated on a house. And he told me exactly what the problem was. And I thought it might be that, but he had seen it. It happened on 3 of his homes and he explained why. And, uh, it was good just to have that affirmation. So I always say now our bench at elite is extremely deep, right? So when I look at a football team, it's how many layers does their bench go? You have a man 88, David's turning 60, 61 now. Um, I'm 45. Now I'm bringing up the next generation. So I've got my nephew in the business, Jimmy, he's 22, but he's a master of the trade. I mean, he's been doing it over 6, 7 years now. He can do all the copper work, run the sheet metal brake, install slate, cedar, single ply, TP, you name it. He's 22. He can do it. Our sales guys, I love working with young men because they're eager. They want to learn. There's no pride in them. So just taking that soft piece of clay with a young man that's looking for a trade or a career and saying, "Hey, let's start you here and we'll work you up through being a field supervisor. Look at a couple hundred installations over a year, and then you'll know every problem and solution dealing with homeowners and transition them into sales. And then, hey, now I know for a fact, here's what we deliver." Uh, and that there's not many of those left. These roofing companies are little roll offs. And what happens is you get a young guy with a year of experience. He thinks, oh, the owners make all the money. I'm just going to go do it myself. But when he looks behind him, he doesn't have a bench, right? There's a lot of YouTube and a lot of theory and stuff, but he hasn't made the big mistakes or screwed the house up or, you know, so that can be real enticing to a homeowner when somebody knocks on the door and says, "Oh, hey, I'm Joe. I'm with XYZ Roofing. I started 2 months ago." Uh, but homeowners, most people want to trust, right? So, oh, nice young man, sure. But you're going to put a 20, 30, $40,000 roofing contract in a young individual's hands with no bench. He's the guy, he orders quality control, all those things. So when you look at the elite differentiator, it's we have a very deep bench and every detail, every job. Are we perfect? No, nobody is. But will we make our mistakes right? Absolutely. Every single time. And that's the difference between every street corner. Now you've got a new roofing sign. I just laugh at, oh, who's this? You got what was the one we're talking about? Rooftop revival, right? I'm all about revival, right? Praise Jesus, but never even heard of the people. Who's that? Oh, that guy worked for him and he rolled off and he's 22 and he's in business now. Like, okay, it keeps us in business because we do a lot of repairs behind them. I mean, sorry to say, but a roof isn't a commodity. You know, there's a difference between what my bench looks like and the new guy's bench looks like. It took years and I was very slow transitioning into the roofing world. I wanted to make sure I understood everything that could happen and really be the elite guy in the industry. So buyer beware, because I call it the last 5 years the roofing gold rush. And it's, oh, roofing's easy. I go to the store, I see some crew hanging off the side of the house, I hire them, I throw some materials in the driveway, the insurance company cuts the check. Well, that's good until there's no more storms. And that guy that promised you a 10-year warranty when he's been in business for 10 days, he's gone. He's a painter now or a landscaper or whatever. The phone doesn't get answered. So that being elite is having the deep bench, years and years of experience, setting a standard on every single job that I know is way higher than any other company around. Right. So if I'm going to be the elite guy, that's what I'm going to stand for. And we're going to do it on every single job. I've had guys quit and go start their own thing. It's free enterprise. Go for it. Good luck. Um, I'm not, I don't look down on that, but it takes a lot of years of experience to get to a level to continue to deliver and stand behind what elite roofing is. And the reason I see eye to eye with Bob and David is because we've always believed in the same thing, and it's doing the best work and having a satisfied customer at the end of the day where you could walk away and go to sleep at night knowing that I put the best roof on those people's house and they made the right decision. So you're gonna what? All right. Make sure you wash your hands.
What you know, who are you proud of?
Um, man, I don't know. I try to. I'm pretty humble. I think I am. I'm proud of the reputation that our people of really uphold, and for me, it's having a new sales guy that sells his first job and does it the right way, or the guy that takes defeat and didn't um, change his morals or his standards just to meet another lowball bid. Like that really, like, it's okay, man. Like, here's what we stand for. That customer's not a fit for us, right? Here's how we do it. Look, it just wasn't an ideal client. So walking a salesperson through stuff like that, I'm proud of our field supervisors, like their attention to detail. That's a very hard job. It starts early in the morning, goes late at night. During the summer, the heat is brutal. And we set some pretty high standards, you know, and just watching these guys grind out these hours and do it, but do it. They walk in here with a smile on their face. And uh, one of the programs we use has a live feed of all the photos that come across, and just seeing the care our people take out in the field of protecting property and um, our details, you know, still the same way I said to do it. Still now, there's no way I could get on every roof we install. Um, but that's what I'm proud of, just seeing my vision, Bob's vision, David's vision, ultimately I don't have to be there every day, but we still can deliver that elite level of service, um, and still turn a comfortable profit doing it. Um, what I'm proud of is our reputation in our area in the industry. We've done some of the nicest roofs, very expensive. When somebody looks for the high caliber roof, oh, call Complete, call Elite. They can handle it. David and I operated in a lot of the high end slate and copper, and Bob the same thing. So our portfolios all have very high-end clients and roofs. Some of the wealthiest people in Mississippi, we've roofed their homes. Um, and I've met a lot of super influential people uh, just by being that roof guy for them. So that's what I'm proud of.
Yeah, because it seems like that different people have different expectations when they hire somebody to work for them.
Hmm.
Yeah, often when people are protecting that level of home, they are looking for a little bit of extra mile. Do you have the attention to detail? Are you guys going to be professional? Like
Yeah.
those stars don't all align.
We've worked on homes that the landscape looks like a barber went out there and trimmed every, I'm telling you, people with 2 or 3 full-time yard or yards groundskeepers. Um, so the level of expectation that a homeowner has and the trust to, if they're spending that type of money to upkeep their landscaping, and I'm about to bring 20 to 30 men in to re-roof a 10 or 20,000 square foot home, like there's a standard that's been set. Um, and the care and protection, but being able to do it and then deliver it, and then that person refers you to the next one. But I said it earlier, I don't care if it's a 20,000 square foot home or a 2,000 square foot home. The same crews that install these big slate are the same guys that put the shingles on just a normal. I don't care what type, if it's a rental home or a huge slate roof. I don't care if it makes the cover of a magazine or not. To me, it's the same elite standard, and we're going to stick to it, or it's not our customer. There's people out there that appreciate it, so we'll keep doing business that way, I guess.
What do you what do you think the legacy of the Elite Roofing will be?
Oh Lord. Um, so I'm 45 now. I keep joking I want to retire at 50, but when I say retire, um, I don't know. I've got some really good people. Um, Greg Owen, our production manager, but best, I had to talk him into leaving energy, and he repaired wheelchairs. And I rode with him one day. I'm like, dude, these wheelchairs are nasty. Like, it's just people live their life in them, but he loved going to their house and being able to provide a service and help people. And I'm like, he says, Joe, man, I love doing this, helping people, but they're not paying my bills. They're covered by Medicaid, mostly stuff like that. He said, I just keep doing it because I love what I do, but I don't make any money doing this because Medicaid takes forever to pay me or whatever. And then he was working nights at Energy. So he was working like 80 hours a week. So I talked him out of the wheelchair thing. So he stayed at Energy. He would work there all night and then come for 4 to 6 hours a day. And Greg started in sales. Um, Now he's our operations manager. He's great with people, loves people. Um, I look for Greg to keep leading his production staff, and these younger men that are our field supervisors. They're going to eventually go into sales or estimating, or there's plenty of room for promotion and advancement, and I'm all about it. Because if you don't engage a guy who's young and give him something intriguing or to strive for, they're just going to go somewhere else to work. So really looking at that young man, and Nick started in sales, right? And but his passion was developing YouTube and pouring into it. So we call it the right person, right seat, and just letting these younger men or women kind of advance in their careers. Ultimately, if I don't roll out of bed in the morning and come in, nobody knows. I mean, they don't need me to put a roof on anymore. Like, I kind of joke about it. Somebody said something, "What's your uncle doing?" He's like, "I don't know. He's probably at the house doing nothing." Isn't true. Uh, but it's, I've set a standard and a level over the years of a work ethic and those things. So over the next 5 years, I just look for these younger men to step into more prominent roles and really become leaders. And eventually we'll have more young men working under them, or women. We're always looking for female salespeople or office or whatever.
becoming better at the roofing industry, but you're attracting young males.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm gathering.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it, and that's more important to me than just making them great roofers or great salespeople. Is nowadays I think teaching young men how to win at life and do it the right way and really have morals and ethics about themselves. And just yesterday, one of our sales guys, he's about to purchase his first home. And just sitting there going through the mortgage paperwork with him and explaining all the different, it's a lot for a young man. He's put a lot of money away. He wants to buy his first house. So he comes to me kind of for advice, right? And it's just helping people win, whether it's at work or in life. Um, it's all important. So it's over the years, my business is really, it was business and it's ministry too. It's just living life with people and doing the right thing. So it's to me that's more rewarding than anything is just watching other people win. That's how I gauge my success is how many other people did I help become successful today, this week, this month, this year. Setting goals for young people or for employees and watching them meet and achieve these goals. And it's every year at our Christmas party, it's a huge thing is, you know, our sales staff, what they did in numbers and who our top producers were. We give a field service award, a servant's heart award for, hey, this guy really exemplifies what it means to be a servant in our community. And that's what I want to radiate off of our employees is, look, we're just servants and we're here to serve our customers to the best of our ability to a standard that's higher than most and deliver the best that we can. Yep. And that was kind of how I define what a lead is.
Right. This is amazing. It's really interesting to talk about. You've been sitting there for an hour and 8 minutes.
No way, really?
The only thing I can think of that you haven't mentioned that relates in a sense, especially with the young men being leading youth now, leading young men.
Yeah. So what you asked me, what does the next 5 years look like?
Well, I said what, yeah, I said what's the future, and then I asked you
Yeah.
what you think of legacy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Legacy.
So, um, to me, it was never about building a huge corporation or a big roofing business or anything. To me, it's still about um, maybe the widowed lady that needs a roof, or really just being a servant. And whether it means I gather up two or three more roofing companies in the process, or I just stay where I'm at right now, I'm okay with it either way. I'm not driven by money or, oh, I own a 10 million or 15 or $20 million roofing company. What I like to say is every year I service between 500 and 800 different homeowners, and we do it across the state, and I do it with 5-star level of service. Um, that to me means more than anything. And in the meantime, I provide a good living for my family and allow a lot of other people around here to provide for their families as well. Um, the most important thing over the next 5 years is that keeps building and growing like that. Um, to me, I'm not looking to get bought out by private equity companies. I know a lot of local companies, the larger ones, have sold. Um, I'm looking for the men and women that have been in the trenches with me for 13 years to keep stepping up. And ultimately, maybe I'll be that guy on the wall with those, the suit. Hey, Joe started this thing back in 2007. That's not my goal at all. I love what I do. Um, and it's the next 5 years, I'll more and more transition out of the day to day. I'm not into day to day much anymore. Um, but keep transitioning, keep encouraging, and keep training and teaching, and just allow God to continue to pour his blessings out on us.